What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 8th Summit NA Qualifiers VGJ.Storm going up against Leviathan, and game 1 was convincing as all hell. I mean, Leviathan had a good first minute, and then that's about it. VGJ.Storm with complete control with a Storm as well. So, synergy there. I'm Mike Lawrence, going to be joined by PQMZ for this second game. Dude, that was a rough one. That was really rough to watch.
It really was. I think the only consolation you can take if you're playing in this series as Leviathan is they lost because they didn't have any answers to their cores. And they drafted this really early committal lineup. So if they can identify what went wrong in their draft process last game and fix that, then they should have a much better chance in this game. The bans have already changed up slightly, but I think it's mostly their picking order that was the problem.
I mean, still the big ones are gonna be paid a little bit of respect when Wyvern Sand King gonna get kicked out, but of course, ban out some powerful heroes. You're gonna have to let others through. Night Stalker is the first pick here for VGJ.Storm. Worth noting, Leviathan in their earlier set up against Blue Pikachu, and I think in their last game as well had Whitebeard not with the crown. So I mean, he may have still been making the calls and may have been, for all intents and purposes, drafting. But now he's actually, officially. So I'm not really sure if there's going to be a huge difference here, but there might actually be, since maybe someone else isn't doing the official drafting.
That's normally a bad sign with teams. But, as you said, it can be just that someone else took this captain slot because one guy just went to the bathroom and the game started, and you wanted to get ready. So someone else took the picking order. It can mean absolutely nothing, or it can be a really bad sign. Well, is it something you should read into? I think absolutely not.
We'll see.
Unless you're all on a LAN at TI and someone's really mad on a video camera. Other than that, I think you can't read into these things.
I would love to see that, just because it'll be hilarious to me. But I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen if you're on a LAN like TI in those little pods and someone just runs out and just starts smashing shit. So that'll be the day. For right now, though, VGJ.Storm, get the Night Stalker because it's Night Stalker. Also grab the Beastmaster, was previously banned out. Leviathan, open up once again with the Slardar, get a puck with it. So very assertive initiation combo for honestly both sides. A lot of catch here.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, but I think VG have the better run of this because vision is so key for both the Slardar and puck to be able to do what they want to do in a game. And Beastmaster is very good at giving you the extra vision. He's also a very good hero at dealing with Slardar in the early stages of the game. And Night Stalker is very good at killing Puck, especially as an offlaner. As a mid laner, it's a little harder because the angles to approach are a bit worse, and he obviously has more levels and more farm. But yeah, I much prefer VG's opening. I think these two heroes are just much better to have in your team generally anyway. They do have a little less utility in fights though, so if they do not use their vision correctly and pick bad fights, these heroes can amount to absolutely nothing. But from what we saw last game, they were pretty disciplined. So I have good faith in them to put these heroes to use.
It's the same kind of concept as what we saw in the last game. Like heroes like the Slark, the Storm Spirit, the Sand King, they're okay in the team fights, but really you want to be getting that one guy who's out of position, initiating, and then backing off and kind of rinsing, repeating. And it's the same type of playstyle. As you said, they already played it very, very disciplined in the last game. I see no reason to think that they won't do the same in this game. Although they do have a little more incentive to push towers since they have a Beastmaster. So maybe they'll play things a little bit more aggressively. Leviathan, with this puck pick, most likely going to be towards their off lane, is a hero that's rather assertive in its own right. Is a hero that, unlike an OD, can actually get going from very early on and make a lot of things happen. Even if he is going to be playing from the off lane. So getting Leviathan a little bit more action, playing a little more aggressively with more of their team members, I really like that type of shift if they are going to fully go towards that direction.
10 seconds remaining.
I think it's the better formula than what they had last game for sure.
5 seconds remaining.
One thing I really like about VG's heroes as well is they can transition this vision pick-off based draft so far into something that actually just goes 5-man with heroes like DK and Dazzle or Venge as cores. So I think Leviathan have a lot to be worried about here.
10 seconds remaining.
They need to cover their bases quite well, especially being down a game. You don't have
5
room
seconds
to
remaining.
just let
Radiant
the draft
team pick.
run awry. You have to cover your bases. And that's hard to do, especially when the other team has last pick. A lot of the cheesy heroes are banned out though, like Brood is gone, Storm is gone, TA can also be a pretty cheesy hero, Omni's gone, but there's still plenty left in the pool.
Yeah, like if you're looking to
10
make that
seconds
kind
remaining.
of really aggressive mid-game play, you still have Death Prophet to pick
5
from if you're
seconds
VGJ.Storm.
remaining.
You still have from the safe lane Luna, Terrorblade. I
Dire
don't
team
think
pick.
there's really power for Drow Ranger here, but you know, you have all those heroes. Lone Druid.
Huskar,
It's gonna be a dazzle, and as you said, it's a non-zero chance of seeing some serious cheesiness here from VGJ.Storm, but a little bit of extra sustain with that attack speed aura. You could just grab a Vengeful Spirit here as a core for VGJ.Storm and
10
try to play
seconds
aggressively with that
remaining.
hero as well. They have so many aggressive options, and Leviathan, now knowing that the Dazzle
5
is in play,
seconds remaining.
I've got to figure something is wrong here. They'll get the Witch Doctor with the Slaughdar. Love this minus armor damage combo, but it just seems like Leviathan are answering lanes right now, but may not be answering this overarching
Dire team
strategy
pick.
coming out from VGJ.Storm as they now grab the broken green hero, the Viper.
yeah, I agree entirely. Like, I think when you pick Witch Doctor here, you don't look at the overall game plan. Like, this is not a hero that provides you good team fight or good deep push if you're behind.
10 seconds
He's very good at
remaining.
being on the front foot and casking a hero that you're going on to then
5
maybe bounce to
seconds
the
remaining.
follow-up and annoy the crap out of them. But that's only really relevant if you're playing on the front foot, even though they do have two very good
Radiant team
initiating
back.
heroes. But right now, I think VG kind of showed their hand picking this Dazzle. Like, you don't have two supports without solid stuns if you're not going to play a certain way. And I think the only thing they really have left
10
to do is
seconds
pick
remaining.
some kind of safe lane hero that they can either go aggro with or give them some kind of
5
lockdown. So
seconds
Venge is
remaining.
obvious go-to one. If that's not banned, then I'd be curious what Leviathan pick instead.
Well,
But they can also back off for some super hard carry because Leviathan already have enough on their plate to deal with these heroes with what they currently have, I feel like. So even though Viper I don't think is as annoying of a mid lane matchup as he used to be, at least at the earlier levels. But he does scale a lot better now
Dire
into
team
the mid
back.
game by being able to actually farm instead of only right clicking and relying entirely on like lane CS.
well, Leviathan do get the Terrorblade on their own team, which is something that VGJ.Storm for sure were, I'm sure, happy to pick up if it was still available to them. And together with the Witch Doctor, Slaughdar,
10
that is a
seconds
lot
remaining.
of damage combo coming out of their safe lane. Pretty good dealing with the Beastmaster as well with that
5
cast and Witch
seconds
Doctor.
remaining.
Something a little bit more powerful for that hero. Ordinarily just a mediocre stun. Now could be a really great stun. But yeah, for VGJ.Storm, it certainly seems like they're probably more likely to go for this really kind of early-ish gameplay. Looking at like the traditionally really late game heroes, usually they don't have a great matchup versus Terrorblade, just having so much armor in that Sunder. I guess like Medusa is okay. I'm pretty sure you don't want to play a Weaver here. That doesn't seem that great. PA is only okay versus Terrorblade. Like it is definitely more rewarding for VGJ.Storm to play aggressively, and I'm sure Huskar is also floating
Dire
around in
team
some
pick.
minds. They'll take out the Sven.
That's pretty good at covering both bases. I'm really not sure if they wanted to back off for like a real hard carry what they'd want. It's a pretty good morph game, I guess. Other than that, I'm not sure.
10 seconds remaining.
Not many teams willing to pick up Morph. I think I saw Empire play it
seconds
and
remaining.
Virtus Pro play it once each. Could be wrong
I've
about
only
that.
seen Penta play it, but
Penta.
yeah.
Always seems mediocre to me. I don't know.
I mean, it's the same hero as before without the get out of jail free card, so you just have to play and itemize slightly differently instead of going for this like link-in split push. You kind of build like, from what I understand, slightly more to like early fighting, and then if you can make use out of the morph,
Radiant
it's
team
great. If not, then whatever. But now we see Leviathan's draft rounded out. I think they have a much better lineup. They cover their bases a lot better this game. They have late game, they have Roshan, they have stuns. They have heroes that can push out
10
waves in
seconds
multiple
remaining.
ways. They can sit in trees and get pickoffs. And I think
5
it's VG that
seconds
have
remaining.
to set the tempo of the game here to actually give themselves a chance at, you know, breaking a window open somewhere. Obviously, they still have a hero to pick, so that can very much determine what windows they want to look at. But I feel much more confident saying that Leviathan will have a better chance this game.
Yeah, they have heroes that can and very often do move around. Like, obviously, Slaughter, Witch Doctor are going to be somewhat mobile. We see rotations from Terrorblades sometimes as early as even level 5, where they wander around with Metamorphosis to push down early towers. Obviously, Death Prophet can push down towers on rotations as well. So Leviathan will have those tools and will be incentivized to actually go and make those plays, as opposed to last game where they didn't have any of those pushing tools. They can't push worth a damn in the last game. So now they'll have a little bit more incentive to actually move around. And still, these lanes are looking fairly solid. Death Prophet versus Viper is, I mean, not extraordinary for a Death Prophet, but oh, it might not be the matchup, in fact, as we now have a Tinker in play for VGJ.Storm. Definitely some shenanigans along with this Beastmaster, but Tinker is a pretty nice hero to have going up against Terrorblade.
Yeah, I think this is that kind of cheese aspect I mentioned is this last pick. The way they mask their draft as being this kind of vision-based, teamfighty, early game push lineup suddenly has this hero come out of their back pocket, and it completely changes the dynamic. And I think this gives them the options to do several things with their lanes. They could do like this aggro dual lane with a Viper that can put a lot of pressure on the Terrorblade and have the Nightstalker move to whichever lane he feels is needed. Beastmaster does pretty well against Puck, as far as I'm aware. And then Tinker against DP is kind of, you know, it's whatever at the start of the game. It's mostly down to rotations. But if this Tinker gets a good game, then I think it can be really scary. If he doesn't, then I think Leviathan have a very, very good chance at snowballing this game off some late laning stage / early mid-game team fights. And just making the Tinker a null factor, because they actually have very good catch for him.
If they're able to get on top of the Tinker just once or twice in lane, Monkeys Forever on the Puck, eventual Blink Slardar, like these are great heroes to have when you're hunting down a Tinker who's bouncing around all the lanes. So very, very possible that we see this Tinker just get absolutely massacred in the early stages thanks to an early Slaughter Witch Doctor and then just get sat on by the Puck later on. In which case, the VGJ.Storm side are in a lot of trouble. If you give a mid lane to your Tinker and your other core is not someone like an Anti-Mage, someone a little bit earlier like a Viper, then you're going to be in for an absolute world of hurt. So I do like Leviathan's drafts quite a bit here. I feel like they have a good amount of push, a good amount of catch. Their lanes are pretty strong. And there's no, like, huge immune hero. Like, Viper, very resistant to magical damage, but cannot really fight up against a Terrorblade convincingly.
Yeah, I think most people would probably favor Leviathan's draft going into this. They probably just see it as a lot more conventional and probably easier to execute overall as well. But I do think that VG have the tools. Do you still hear me? I think my Dodo just crashed.
I'm still in.
Alright, I have to reboot my Dodo.
Yeah, let me know when you're in. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of action right now. Everyone's just separating into their own rune spots, and it looks like it most likely is going to be VGJ giving up maybe one rune. They're going down to the bottom lane right now to try to fight over this bot rune. And for sure, Ryoya is going to get his on the Tinker, so he's got that one in the bag. But they're going to make it just in time, so everyone should be fine here. But Leviathan, you do have a lot of push coming out of these heroes. Probably one of the big reasons why they considered Tinker in the first place, to kind of counter push against that Terrorblade. Garter's going to get pushed back by Flea. Monkeys Forever going to try to snag the bounty, is not going to get it. Ultimately, it is going to be 2 for 2 at the end of the day. Garter, though, taking a lot of damage. Deciding to fistfight a Nightstalker is ill-advised when you're an old ghost lady. Although the Siphon's going to get Garter quite a bit of extra juice. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Fairy Fire, even if that's forced out, that's already a pretty big win. Oh, the no more mana here from Flea. Tier 2? What Tier 2? You don't need a Tier 2. Okay, maybe he should have respected the Tier 2, because it's doing quite a bit of damage. Flea is going to die, giving up first blood to Garter. I can't blame him for going for that, man. When you're a Nightstalker and we have a chance of coming off the enemy mid laner, you gotta sometimes take that shot.
That's so game losing though, man. Like, you see he has a fairy fire. You're not stupid. You click his inventory before you dive him, right?
You
Like,
only
this
YOLO
hero,
once.
yeah, he'd have to like bring his courier out to like here, pop himself, go back to the lane, be like 1.5 creep waves behind. Instead now he has a null sitting in his stash and he can ferry out another self, and the Night Stalker has to kind of come back here to equalize this. I'd be pretty tilted if that happened and I was playing mid. Because like this is a very volatile matchup in some ways, mostly because of the support duos from both sides that can come in. You know, I say duos, Dazzle's not really going to roam much, but Night Stalker will.
Well, Yoya right now is going to be without worry, as he doesn't have to worry about a Slardar nor the Witch Doctor. They're both in their respective lanes, just chilling. Not really sure what Nusham can really do in this lane, though. Up against these two ranged heroes, one of which is a Viper. Not exactly a great place to be as a 4-position Slardar. Whitebeard's going to show up over in the mid lane. He's already shown himself to have Maledict. He's going to throw a cask over towards the Tinker, but there's no follow-up to that, so a little bit of an empty rotation here from the Witch Doctor early on, which is of course going to alleviate the pressure for Sneaking's top lane.
Yeah, which is something I don't think you really want to be doing. Like, he TP'd because the Night Stalker was, you know, somewhat here, but you don't have any way to, like, make that TP work. And you're starting to see the advantage that Tinker has just through laser, and, in my opinion, a better CS animation.
On the
I think
other
BM
lanes,
can
got
definitely bully
Ritsu
the
still
top lane.
up against Monkeys Forever, and he's feeling pretty good right now. No reason why he shouldn't. They should have seen Nusham grab that Invis rune, but Ritsu is playing things kind of on the edge here. He'll be fine as the wave is coming in, actually.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I think if he dies to that Invis rune, then that's some serious lack of team communication.
I think they see him now. Corrosive Skin is level 2. Crush will do a decent amount of damage here. Ritsu is going to have a heal from the Dazzle, but no Grave. Well, Dazzle's pushing level 3 pretty quickly. Ritsu is going to go down at the trade of the puck. Can they kill off Nusham? Yeah, 2 tower shots will get the kill. And it's a 2-for-1 in favor of VGJ.Storm, and that's great for the Dazzle, but losing a Viper like that is pretty costly.
I don't think they'll mind too much, so just because the Dazzle experience is, you know, he's level 4 now. He can buy his boots. Well, as soon as the next wave hits, he's going to be level 4. And these things often get looked at as like, oh, well, they killed the core, it's worth it, right? But supports like Dazzle can either have like no impact in the game if they're behind and his cores are not farming too well, which they are this game, and now he's level 4. And this can just mean they can't kill this Viper anymore, so any aggression in this lane is completely wasted. And now this hero can like start chain pulling like this and start farming and make this lane like a complete no-go for the park. Which is much worse than just, you know, like not going for that and not killing their core, you know? Because then Dazzle would still be like level 2.
It's like a very short-term investment. It's like, okay, Viper, we know you're going to be doing fine in the mid-game, but the Dazzle needs to be doing well right now. So Dazzle is going to be doing well, or at least better, than if he, than no one died over in that mid lane. Yoya, ooh, double damage rune, picking a fight with Garter. He's going to be just fine. In the meantime, we did see Night Stalker and Beastmaster team up to try to push back this Terrorblade a little bit. Terrorblade is pretty Beastmaster immune, though. Like, he has 12 armor up against Beastmaster, who's almost entirely physical except for the Primal Roar, which is a negligible amount of magic damage. They're going to chase after over in mid lane. Nusham in the trees. He's going to get beaten down by Flea. Missiles will hit Garter pretty hard as well, but he's got bottle charges. Roya doesn't have another laser just yet. Everyone else will be fine. But yeah, this Terrorblade is running a lane uncontested. A day and night shift between PSJ and this game is Terrorblade, and last is Gyrocopter. At this point, he was like 1 and 2 as Gyrocopter without the ability to do anything. Ritsu on the bottom lane is going to get crushed one more time. Does have, again, 2 points Corrosive, but this time he has a Magic Wand. He's going to try to race for Nusham. Poison attack is really strong when you're weak, and he will take the kill. And Monkeys Forever is actually getting beaten up by these creeps. Orb will fly through, but now he's in a little bit of trouble because he doesn't have an orb to escape. And Ritsu should be able to walk him down. One more poison attack. I think that's lethal damage. Not quite. As another phase shift, it will eventually be lethal damage. That's for damn sure. Ritsu gets a double kill. And Leviathan overplay their hand on bottom.
That's really good heads up on his part. No, he can turn that, but I think, again, You see where Leviathan start to get a little desperate, and I, this isn't the highest caliber of Dota, but when you make mistakes like that, you make the game so hard for yourself. And there are plays you can just not make. Like, you miss that orb, you TP to the tier 2 tower or and go shrine, or you know, you just don't show and try and hit him. And instead it ends up, you know, biting them in the ass. And there's several times they've done these plays. At least this game's a lot more even, so they're going to matter a lot less in this game than they would have last game.
Underestimating the tankability of a Viper and the damage of a Viper. Like, the fact that Poison Attack and Nether Toxin, or old Nether Toxin, are kind of rolled into one. Really hard to deal with. Stan King is going to get put into a corner, but he is a Dazzle. He does have a heal for himself. Gets chopped out, though still is hit with the Maledict. Backup is coming in droves here for Team Leviathan. Dazzle with another healing wave should be fine. Yeah, he'll be aces, though very weakened. Rotation of the Viper up towards top lane. Has a Viper Strike at the ready. It's great up against the Terrorblade, but again, there's not much magic damage here, so BSJ is going to get hit with that Viper Strike. There's a Void here as well, but the axes actually do nothing. And he's probably just going to get topped out to full. Going for this Terrorblade is difficult without a Tinker here.
Yeah, I think this is a rotation that's meant more to put pressure on the lane, and if they could manage to get a kill or something there, then ideal. But they're making this rotation, I think, so their strongest hero on the map can annoy the hero that they're worried about as the game progresses on, right? Like, if you make this rotation mid, I don't think it works, but now you can like shrine off, and you just plant this Viper top, and then if you want to make rotations, you can. They're actually not doing that, but maybe it's because they deem tower push time. I know, like, I really like the idea to put the Viper top, but then when they just move him like this, it feels obscenely obvious. Like, they go back to shrine and heal up. No one's showing on the map except like these two cores, which makes this smoke play really obvious. If they catch a Witch Doctor here, I think it's a bit of greed on his part, but it's not a kill they'll be happy with.
It's better than nothing, unless the Satyr has something to say about it. No.
Yeah, like, they have no right getting that kill, in my opinion, but it's a very meaningless kill. And now it goes back to them planting this Viper in the top lane, but TB just moves bottom now, and he has meta up, and there's no hero down here, so they can put a lot of damage into this tower. And if anyone does come down, then Leviathan have this puck. Their mid lane's sorted out because the DP's just sat here farming. She's got a haste rune, so they can't really expect her to die unless she gets roared. But you know, Beastmaster's showing, he's not 6 yet. So much better run of the game for Leviathan so far.
BSJ will clean up this bottom lane. It was a really awkward movement from everyone from Storm. Like, they had the Tinker chilling mid, and then Beastmaster randomly like dual laning showing up there, whereas everyone else was smoked up. No one was on bottom lane. I think if you just like put the Viper on the roam, Stan King's in a lot of trouble right now. Crush with a coil if they even need it. Well, Dazzle's gonna make a break for it. Good luck, bro. He's gonna go down. Pretty easy kill, but it's not a huge kill. But if you put the Beastmaster on the bottom lane, leave the Viper kind of hanging around top, or even roaming between mid and top, at least you get some value out of the Beastmaster. He does have Aurora finally, and is pushing pretty hard up on the top lane, but Exorcism pushes pretty quickly also, and the damage has already been done on the bottom lane in favor of Leviathan, so they're just starting to break down these structures, pretty much exactly what you'd expect. The timing they need to hit is the timing before the Tinker is going to get to absolute Cancer Mobility mode with the Travels and the Blink Dagger and the Soul Ring, and he's nowhere really near that. Garter is going to dive right in with a Haste Rune. Looking for Stan King. Ghosts do quite a bit of damage. Yoya sees the creep wave, feeling pretty good about himself until he sees the Slaughter coming around. Oh, great timing.
That's unfortunate pause.
Well, the crush is going to land.
I think this is actually going to be a really good pause for Leviathan, because right now they can see this Dazzle is close enough to be able to save him. He might think like, oh, there's no grave, but now you don't have this jump play where they have to spend 2 seconds reacting and be like, oh shit, I need to TP. We can see that someone's TPing. I don't think they can. So
it's in the dire vision.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
F3
then yeah, they just get the hell out right now, and they don't get this kill, and they don't lose anything for it, which is good. But one thing I wanted to bring up was the trade of towers in a normal situation like this, where you lose your tier 1 mid for this tier 1, is normally really good for the Dire, because the mid tier 1 is worth more. But I think in a game like this, and because they got so much pressure on this tier 2, they actually might be favored overall, just because their heroes use so much more vision around the map. If you can take towers out of this game, Leviathan have way less access points, and obviously more obvious ones if they are available. So you can hawk around them, you can smoke around them, ward around them, and then you can see who's going to come in and rotate, right? And this gives Tinker so much more room on the map. And sure, he's not at a point where he can use it yet, but this is all setting foundations. And he's kind of the hero that's going to bring VG's lineup to fruition at some point. Like, the rest of the heroes are kind of just, you know, they're backup singers in this. He's the main vocalist that's going to, you know, decide if the band's good or not, basically. I know it's a shit analogy, but it's what came to mind. I'm tired.
No, that actually does make a lot of sense. I'm trying to think of like backup singers who made it big, and I don't know jack about music, so I can't do anything to help you there. But if I, someone who doesn't know jack about music, can understand the analogy, then I'm sure Twitch chat, who is infinitely smarter than I am, can understand it as well.
I tried to dumb it down for the Twitch chat boys, you know. Just...
Tinker, important, big hero. Everyone else on VGJ.Storm, small hero, less important.
Thank you.
There we go. Don't worry, I speak fluent Twitch chat. But yeah, as towers start to fall, the Tinker, once he gets his travels, will be able to just apply more pressure around the map. The hero pushes waves really well. He does not push towers worth a damn, so taking these towers, these tier 1 towers earlier on for VGJ.Storm, certainly a pretty heavy asset for them. Roya is going to jump in mid lane, show off his travels. Again, Soul Ring into Blink Dagger should be a pretty easy build-up for him, and Ritsu just camping out this top lane. Currently undefended, although they will Obs and see Stan King move up. Where's this Beastmaster been?
So.
Beastmaster has not been doing all that much.
Yeah, I think this is their game plan. Right now, Tinker isn't the big hero yet. Viper is the hero that they can put in a lane like this, and he's going to draw attention. You put a hawk around the access points, and as Stan King does, you drop a ward. And then you draw some focus here, you take it away from your Tinker. Maybe you get them out of your woods, which is where they've had most of their vision this game. And I think VG knew that. So they've tried to avoid that area as much as possible and play around where they have their own vision, which I think is pretty smart. But overall, they just need to prolong this game a bit, and putting this Viper up here instead of farming like this wave down here is a very smart decision. They just need to not overplay their hand.
Make a play for Monkeys, though the Viper Strike will be very easy to dodge. It has a really large visual cue, probably even larger audio cue, so the Monkey's going to get out of that. No crippling fear in time. The Beastmaster, though, has picked up the Helm of the Dominator, so is going to have a lot of neutrals wandering around. He will, I think, see Garter go invis there. Oh, definitely does with the Obs, so they'll fall back, knowing that the Death Prophet is invisible, and also with the double damage. Not really what VGJ.Storm really want to deal with right now, but still, this Viper, persistent as all hell. And now with the threat of the Beastmaster backing him up, this guy can do so much damage right now.
Yeah, this is definitely a peak of Beastmasters. He's better than like junglers that have the conversion at this point, because the amount of attack speed he gives, and obviously the lockdown ability. So I think it's in Leviathan's main interests to like pick and choose their windows here. But Viper's not the hero you want to be going on when he's maxed corrosive, and he's not super tanky yet because he doesn't really have that item like a hood or anything like that. Yeah, he just picked up his veil, which won't be delivered to him for a while as Curry's in use. But I still don't think this is the hero you want to play around if you're a Leviathan. You want to get this lad out his blink. He's got 1500 gold. That's pretty good. And then you can maybe look to make some plays after that when you can pick and choose your initiation a bit better.
The Terrorblade
won't necessarily
also just AFK on the bottom lane. Like, BSJ has not interacted with anyone from the VGJ side in the past like 3 minutes easily. So this guy's gonna bust out of the woods with a Yasha, probably a Dragon Lance soon enough. I don't think this is his. No, it's not. So yeah, BSJ is getting a lot of farm in the meantime. He's topping the Viper easily. Viper has been just farming the top lane, I suppose, and chipping down the tier 2, but very, very slowly.
And the main thing is the Viper's actually doing something with his farm, and BSJ is using it to get more farm. So that's why you see the disparity, despite the fact Terrorblade's a better farming hero. I'm actually not sure what I'd expect him to go this game. Like, I like Manta Diffusal for being able to actually chunk down Viper and chase all these heroes, but there's a Dazzle and it doesn't do anything at killing Tinker, so I'd be interested to see how he prioritizes items, because I think it is going to be very important this game.
Nushum being stalked by two heroes. Sneaking's gonna unleash the roar. First one of the game, very easily. Will be able to kill off the Slardar, even forcing a TP from Garter. He takes an absolute beating from the March of the Machines.
Like, these two heroes need to get out.
Yeah, Whitebeard is going to not get that much help from the Puck, who kills off the creep wave, yes, but Ritsu's still going in, and Flea actually is going to land a silence onto the Puck with the right clicks from the Viper and the heal wave. They'll eventually get this kill, but now find themselves in an awkward spot. Ritsu can try to TP out. BSJ's damage is enough to kill off the Viper, making it a 2-for-1 across the map, but that Viper is worth a hell of a lot, and for BSJ to get that kill, this Terrorblade is going to be rolling in the cash after that.
Yeah, and I think the Tinker's going to live now as well, so overall, VG will be pretty happy with this. Because now they get a bit of damage on the tier 1 bottom as well, and they're dictating the tempo by making those plays. It would have been even worse if the Puck didn't kill the creep, the Tinker TP2. Because then I think they would, maybe the Puck lives, but they'd kill the Witch Doctor for sure, and heroes wouldn't feel comfortable TPing in, and then that tower goes down. So I think that's definitely worth the Puck death. And Slaughter's still about where he was on his blink. If he stops missing CS under tower, that would be nice.
We just assume that any given hero, when not under camera, is going to be last hitting perfectly. That's how this works. He's going to have an opportunity to just catapult up to his Blink Dagger mark with the kill on Sneaking. Haze is up. Monkey's Forever is trapped in the trees. Looks like it shouldn't matter with Whitebeard's arrival Death Ward, and that is not quite the blink. But still, it's a kill, and he'll also help kill off the entire zoo of the Beastmaster as well. So that is a lot of gold for the Leviathan side.
Yeah, I think those are kills that they're gonna need to keep getting, because I think they would be quite happy to do some kind of team fight if they have vision around and they can get the jump once Slardar gets his blink. But VG giving them that I don't see happening too much. They are going to eventually lose this top tower, which I think was going to happen if any play got made around the map regardless, so at least they got something instead of just letting it die.
Viper, he did have a veil, right? We both saw that?
Yeah, he sold it.
Alright, so
I guess the pause made him reconsider. I like the Maelstrom a lot more because it helps him scale and actually kill the TB as the game goes on. He probably realized that, like, you know what, this whole Veil thing, I don't really need it. We're able to make things happen around the map without it. I don't need to help my team. They have minimal magic damage anyway. It's mostly just him that benefits from it. So it's better to get an item that I think deals with TB as the game goes on, helps his farm speed. Sure, he still has some mana problems, but that's what Clarities are for, and maybe Dazzle gets a set of Arcane Boots or something.
Is going to be spotted, takes a Blink Crush and a Terrorblade Metamorphosis right in the face. Sneaking is going to show himself off accidentally. Maybe a Centaur Stomp to give him some space. The Boar Slow is going to pretty much deactivate Slaughter's Blink entirely. And Sneaking is now on the run. All about the efforts of space creation. In the meantime, top lane Ritsu is still pushing out this wave, but I mean, Viper taking down a tier 2 is one thing. Taking down a tier 3 is quite another. Garter is going to be wandering in under full vision here of VGJ.Storm, and it looks like they have a pretty big opportunity, though she does have a Yule Scepter, so anytime she can get rid of the Viper Strike for right now, will lift herself up. Still takes quite a bit of damage from it, is going to try to siphon her way to freedom with the right clicks, and Nushum's Blink Crush. Ritsu's in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to go down. Garter is very healthy. We'll turn around for a second on the Dazzle, and with BSJ's arrival, well, they probably can't get anything else. Flea will TP out of here, but immediately they're going to smoke up right under a Radiant Observer Ward, so that's not going to do all that much to hide themselves, but still, that Death Prophet Yule Scepter, an absolute game changer.
Yep, they went in when they probably saw that she didn't have the item, and then it gets delivered by a courier, so she was dead if it wasn't for that item, so very fortuitous timing, and now it gives them this very easy Roshan, which is going to allow them to hopefully start cleaning up some excess towers on the map, which is very hard to do against Tinker without some form of safety net, which is generally in the form of an Aegis or a BKB. Both heroes kind of prone to not wanting to get BKBs, so I think Aegis will be the main windows that they can play around for these pushes.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Until that point, it's all about map control and keeping lanes in a position and, you know, not getting picked off. Kind of like they did last game, where they play as a unit. Hopefully this game they just find a window, though.
Push though, like the Tinker is getting up there in farm. It's still behind the Terrorblade and Death Prophet by a little bit of a larger margin than I expected. And that death in the bottom lane certainly didn't do him any favors. But once he gets this Aghanim Scepter, once those missiles come out, once the laser starts bouncing around, it gets really, really difficult to play as a Terrorblade. So I mean, Leviathan have a little bit of an opening with this Aegis, but I'm not really sure if it's something that they could really capitalize anything off of, and this is still going to get to this like really grindy map state where Leviathan are just going to be constantly hunting for kills.
And if VG can kind of read their rotations and use their superior vision tools, that's the game that they want. They have this Dazzle hero for a reason, so that whoever's putting himself in a bad spot maybe has his failsafe, and then position their Hawks right, and they can make these maneuvers a lot safer.
Sneaking Helm of the Dominator into not much more. Beastmaster hasn't really gotten that much action. Kind of uncharacteristic of the hero. At least what you should be looking to do is just roar every single guy you can find every single time you have it, but hasn't really been the most aggressive game. VGJ.Storm definitely looking to play like the slow, grindy game with the map control and sneaking, not really finding many opportunities to ditch that ultimate. So we'd really like to see VGJ.Storm try to make something happen, since they do still have this early game Viper. He's incredibly big, and of course the Beastmaster with reinforcements from the Tinker. Like, they have everything they need to actually take these fights, except for vision. It's the only thing they're lacking right now. And of course, initiative, as BSJ is going to let loose under Ritsu. Flea is going to dive in pretty deep, gets crushed out of his TP, and will drop. Just trying to get a little bit of cover for his allies, but VGJ.Storm not looking for an engagement right now. I'm not really sure when they would be looking for an engagement, honestly.
Yeah, definitely not the play you want to be making. And this falls very nicely in a part of the map that Leviathan already have done a lot of damage to this tower. If they kill the Tinker here, then they can maybe even look at going high ground, but you know, Blink is a good item, so they can't get that kill. They still have Exorcism available, but just finding a way to use it right now. It's the whole thing in Tinker gaming. Doesn't matter what you have, if you can't put it on the table and make use out of it in a game. You also get the tier 1 top, which is just nice work from the park.
Mid lane catapults, they got it. Tier 1 secured. They roar the puck to get the hell out of there. Now Death Ward is deployed onto this Viper. Is going to get graved, but that is not going to help him nearly enough right now. Dazzle as well will fall. BSJ takes some poison damage. Missiles may pick off the Aegis, and that's all well and good, but ultimately not quite good enough. Especially if Roya is going to get dropped from this one. Gets it with the crush, is siphoned, and bashed. Just for good measure. That's a 3-kill for Leviathan. Just for the Aegis on BSJ, which was not really with a lot of duration anyway. Leviathan have all the initiative in this game, and for VGJ.Storm, I mean, I really expected a little bit more aggressive play from this Viper and Beastmaster. I thought they would look for more kills, but they just haven't.
I think some of that comes down to Leviathan have played in a way that is allowing them to react to the play. So if Terrorblade's sat farming a jungle here, he can just TP to any go, and then if you've already used your spells, you get caught under a tower with Puck using coil, maybe even DP exorcism, and then TB coming in. Like you're gonna lose that fight, so you can't make the plays like that aggressively because they don't have the burst. If they had like a Lion instead of a Dazzle, sure they can make that play, but yeah, they really needed the Tinker to offer that burst for them. And then it got to a stage of the game where Blinks came out and he can't, you know, just go in and use and abuse his early items and burst. That being said, the game still has a lot of play in it. These stages of the game become very irrelevant if Tinker doesn't die and he can defend his high ground for 20-30 minutes until him and Viper get to a point that allow them to start being aggressive again.
Smoke up.
But
VGJ.
it's the same thing for Leviathan. They have really good late
right
game.
now. Ritsu is leading the rear, Flea taking points, and maybe we'll run into like a Witch Doctor here. Again, the vision here for Leviathan is lacking, and they actually will all separate. The Hand of Midas is up on the Night Stalker, so I mean, in this type of game state, Midas is an absolute all-star on someone like a Night Stalker who needs those, would really like those items pushing in towards the later game, but Sneaking is the one in trouble here. Smoke onto him. Will get broken by Nusham. Cask is there, plus BSJ. Super easy kill to the Leviathan side, and yeah, the Tinker is now going to have to be, once again, back on high ground defense duty. Really not where you want to be 24 minutes in as a Tinker. BSJ will jump in. Nusham is going to find a crush into the Viper, and they will jump in. Cast starting to bounce as well. The Viper's taking an absolute beating here, and there's no grave in time. GG is calling. That was like the most anticlimactic thing of all time, dude. That wasn't even a fight. Like that was like a gank into GG.
I think this game mostly comes down to a similar theory to the last game where VGJ just didn't have heroes that could do things that they wanted. Like you said, Beastmaster roared like next to no heroes, so he's purely used as a wave pushing tool and some vision, which this game vision's irrelevant if they can go as 5 heroes and do what they just did, which is, you know, it took them 20 odd minutes after some lane decisions to do that, but that's Dota, you know. So I think third game is gonna come down to the draft again pretty heavily, because so far it's really favored whoever has like this easy to execute do something draft.
Just the push incentive, the pushing heroes, the reasons to move around and look for those kills. I thought VGJ.Storm had him in this game with the Beastmaster and Night Stalker, but for whatever reason, just not getting into that groove. So we'll see who's able to get on the aggressive train earlier. It seems like that is going to indicate who's going to have a better time. But yeah, for sure, Leviathan playing their push draft pretty well with the Death Prophet and the Terrorblade early on. Of course, not having to worry about much movement from VGJ.Storm makes it pretty easy for them. So we'll see what's going to happen in Game 3, guys. I'm Mike Loris. Been joined by PQMZ. Game 3 soon. We'll see what's going to happen in the draft.